What happens if we're at episode like 400? You're going to say that we're on episode 403.
Yes, I will. I will probably say we're on episode 403. And I'll say which season, too, which we have to decide when we want to shift into a new season, maybe next year.
Yeah.
Like next March.
How do you decide a season?
Like a logical grouping of thoughts, except we're all over the place, so.
Yeah, nothing we do is logical.
It doesn't really apply.
No.
I mean, we do have a format.
Kind of.
But I don't know. It's good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the PUDs Podcast.
It's seamless, dude. It's like I never left. It's what you've been missing.
Oh my gosh.
It's what you've been missing.
So what's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
So if you can't hear, Josh is back.
I'm back, baby.
He's back from the bubble.
I'm back, baby. Oh, I was in the bubble.
Yeah.
I was in the bubble for sure. We'll get into the bubble.
Yeah, that's going to be a main topic. I think we're going to have Josh talk about his whole house experience, which has been a process,
yeah,
to say the least. So if you're thinking about building your own house, I should say you didn't just buy a house, you bought a house.
We can go buying a house. We'll talk about the process of building.
Yeah.
I got a lot to get into. Frustration, joy, sadness, gladness.
All the way up to mowing his lawn.
All the way up.
Proudly.
Yeah, but let's get into the scramble.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, man. So what's? I already kind of know what's new with you. We just talked about it.
Yeah. So, we had gone out to breakfast, a week or so ago, to the barn, and I think it's considered Westport. It's like the Westport, Adamsville, Little Compton area.
Yep.
My favorite breakfast spot. One of my favorite breakfast spots that has become now my favorite breakfast spot, because we're going out to breakfast and we see Jenny Slate.
Oh man,
is eating breakfast in this restaurant.
And for those who don't know, what show was she on and what role?
Yeah, so for those that don't know Jenny Slate, she's an actress, probably most notably for being Mona Lisa Saperstein from Parks and Rec. That's John Ralphio's sister.
Yeah, check that show out if you haven't. It's
Parks and Rec is a great show.
Definitely a good watch.
Great show. So that's one of her roles. Another big role, I don't know if this is a show that you've watched, but it's called Big Mouth. Nick Kroll.
I know about the show, and I watched some of it.
She played Missy on
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, she's the voice of Missy on Big Mouth. And she's been in movies and things like that. She was in the Venom movie. She was in I Want You Back with Charlie Day.
I don't think I've seen that either.
You know Charlie Day?
Yeah, she's from It's Always Sunny, right?
Yeah. So she was in that with him. But so I'm a fan of hers, and I did not expect to see her. I'm sure you go out to eat, you don't expect to see anybody famous, no. Especially somewhere that you've been before.
Especially Jenny Slate.
Yeah. So I walked.
Especially if you're Josh.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, it got real weird with me because I walked in and waiting for the lady to come and like get us to our table, whatever, and I look in the corner and I'm like, that lady looks familiar. That's weird. And then I look again and I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god, that's John Ralphio's sister over there.
It's her.
And so then I start getting weird. Like, I start getting super excited, but I don't want to, like, be weird about it. Like, make a scene. So, like, and I don't say anything to Melissa. We get to the table, and I'm like, look over there. Look over there. She's like, what? I'm like, that's Jenny Slate. That's John Ralphio's sister from Parks and Rec. And she's like, oh, yeah, it is. And I'm like,
totally unimpressed.
I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? She's like, we're eating breakfast in the same place as her. And she's like, yeah, it's cool. And I'm like, trying to figure out a way to like go and say hi and like introduce myself or whatever. And she's actually sitting right in front of the bathroom. like where her table is, right in front of the bathroom.
That's convenient.
And Jeremiah's like, "Daddy, I gotta go to the bathroom." And I'm like, "Oh, perfect! I'll bring you over to the bathroom."
Yes.
And I'm like, this is very nice. Now I have a little boy. She's eating breakfast with her daughter. Now I can like bring him over there and like say hey, say hello.
I have
whatever.
a kid too.
Yeah, we're the same. And so we go to the bathroom. We come out, and then I walk up to her, like we're passing by her table, and I'm like, hey, you're Jenny Slate, right? And she's like, yeah, like gives me a smile, and I'm like, then I start going like,
you're like, I can't believe she replied to me.
Yeah, I know. I start getting like wicked like geeked out, and I'm like, I meant to say something along the lines of like, oh, you do really good work or something like that, and it comes out, and I'm like, you're an amazing actress. And then she's like, "Oh,
that was nice."
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, thank you."
I'm sure you're not the first person that's like blurted out something at her.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, that's so sweet, thank you." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to bother you. I know you're trying to eat your breakfast. Bye."
That was it. That was it.
That was awesome. It. Because I was too. Yeah. I didn't want to be. I also didn't want to be like, "Oh, take a selfie with me." Like, do all this stuff. I just imagine you being
like, "You like pancakes too?"
Yeah. You got the French toast?
I love French toast.
What's your take on eggs? How do you take them? You like them hard boiled?
What do you think came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
I need to go.
I was already too excited, so I was like, I got to get out of here and go finish my breakfast. Like, but
that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. She was nice. Like, it was like super chill. Like, nobody was like talking to her, going up to her or whatever. And I didn't want to be that guy either that's like, hey, let's take a selfie at your breakfast table while you're here with your daughter. Like,
yeah, I feel like
she's trying to
obnoxious.
She's trying to parent. Like,
do the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I already know how hard that is, so I didn't want to make it any harder. So it was nice. She was very nice. You know, it was just like a cool experience to be. Like I said, you're out to breakfast with your family and you see like a famous celebrity. It never happens. It's never happened to me. So I thought that was really cool.
That's neat.
And then she waved when she left. She said bye.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm like, all right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice. Me and Jenny Slate are friends now.
You're like, we're basically best friends.
Yeah, we're basically best friends. We hang out. Yeah. But apparently she her husband owns the Duval's country store like in South Dartmouth. So apparently she's like from around here. She lives around here. So
kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't notice if she had like a New Englandy accent at all in Parks and Rec.
She has like that very unique voice, dude.
Yeah,
like very like high pitched, like kind of like whiny, squealy voice, like. And
it's noticeable.
Yeah,
did she sound like that in person?
She did,
oh,
and
really?
I think that's what kind of caught me off guard. I'm like,
you're like, you do actually sound like that?
You do sound like this. That's awesome. Yeah. So that was really cool. That was a cool experience. But yeah, so that was my notable.
Cool, man.
My notable moment. What about you, man?
So since last time, I think we talked about it, but our friends Mike and Lori were getting married up in New Hampshire.
Congratulations to the newlyweds.
Congrats, newlyweds, Mike and Lori, and thanks for having us up there.
Friends of the pod, Mike and Lori.
Yeah, friends of the pod, Mike and Lori. More importantly,
yeah, of course.
PUDs Podcast,
of course.
Big pud heads.
Yeah,
big pud heads. But yeah, so we went up. They ended up getting a house up in Warren, New Hampshire. It was wicked cool, like where I was. It was like kind of on this sort of hilltop, and you actually could overlook the mountains, and it's had Moose Lock in the background, which is one of the 4,000 footers, which we didn't see until like the third or fourth day because it was rainy and cloudy. Yeah. The place was awesome. Unfortunately for them, I know they were kind of trying to decide on a weather window, and they ended up pushing from Wednesday to Thursday because they had to give their photographers like heads up because they had to like hike up there and get everything ready and stuff.
Yeah. So explain that, because it's not a very typical wedding.
Yeah, they're doing sort of a more formal ceremony later this year, but like their official like marriages. They kind of like been looking around. A couple of years ago, February 2022. Seems longer ago than that.
Yeah. But it's about a year and a half ago now.
Yeah. One of the 52 of the views, Middle Sugarloaf up in New Hampshire, like we had been doing a couple of them, and we went up there with them in the winter, and they really liked it. And that was it's got beautiful ledges that if it's clear, it overlooks like Mount Washington. And even if it's not clear, like the day they had, it's beautiful. Like it just kind of drops off. There's like ledges almost completely in a 360 around the summit.
Yeah.
So you just kind of pop it there. It's not a super long hike either. It's probably a good family hike, I would say.
So you guys hiked up and they got married at the top of that?
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty epic. Cool. And like, it was rainy, a little bit rainy and kind of spitting out, and like windy and breezy. Yeah. But we were kind of on the leeward side. I think leeward's the right word I'm looking for. Leeward side of the mountain, but basically we're kind of blocked out of the wind.
Yeah.
So we kind of had a little shelter from the drizzle and the wind and stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, it was a good time. They had me video the actual ceremony, which unfortunately was a little windy. You guys will hear it one day when I send it out and after I edit it. I'm not going to do that much to it. I'm just going to adjust the color and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little windy, but it was cool. You can generally hear like they get all the vows and stuff on. So I ended up doing that and then took a bunch of photos of them back at the house. They like got their wedding stuff back on, and it was just a nice place to take photos of around the house and stuff.
That's cool, man.
I'm already thinking of about 17 different places I probably could have had them stand and take pictures of them, but yeah. So
your other side gig hobby.
Yeah. So
gotta figure out how to make money on this.
I do. Me and Wilkie were talking. Friend of the podcast, Wilkie was like, he's like, I could be a chef. You hike out and do pictures. He's like, I'll help you with that stuff.
Yeah.
We can do this.
I'll be the planner.
As he called it, was
just
like,
do weddings.
as he called it, a third of a life crisis. Instead of a midlife crisis. But yeah, it was a really cool time.
Yeah.
Just had fun up there. On Saturday before we left, me and Ash did Smarts Mountain, which is another 52 with a view I haven't done yet.
Yeah.
And that's the one I actually tried to get to in like December of last year and ended up like driving around New Hampshire. Turns out not a great idea to go after New Hampshire has a blizzard. No. Directly after.
Never.
It's hard to get places.
Never.
Surprisingly.
So what number is that?
52. 42. So I've got 10 left. More. 42 out of 52.
Can count it on two hands.
Yeah. So getting down there with that, but got some really nice views and stuff going up there. The notable thing with Smarts is it has good views up some trails on the way to the summit, but not really the one we chose.
Yeah.
And like it's got this old like 40-50 foot fire tower, which is like I have something weird with like heights and like towers and stuff like that. I think because it's man-made, and like you could feel it with the wind up there like blowing, like you could feel it like
a little bit of sway,
not swaying, but like you could feel it like not rocking. I don't know how to describe. Like it was moving like a little bit.
Yeah, a little
good gust hits it, but it had great views from the top. Ended up not being as freaked out as I thought I was going to be climbing up to the top, but
nice.
And it had a trap door like you had to push open that probably weighed like 50, 60 pounds. The thing it wouldn't stay up by itself, so you had to like, even when we get out of there, like I'm just like holding it over my head and just slams behind you and stuff.
Nick's gonna share those on the pod.
Yeah, I'll have to on the share pod those Instagram. But yeah, I think that was mostly it. Sunday we kind of just chilled and then settling back into the work week. Yeah. So I want to do Nick's music moment.
I would love to do Nick's music moment.
Alright, so first song on the list is a song called Blame Brett. It's by the band The Beaches, and the album's called Blame My Ex. This is a great little catchy sort of single. This album has yet to actually come out. It's coming out September 15th, so a little plug for them. And it's just a good group. I haven't listened to much of their stuff before. Their first album is really good. I think it's called Take Me to the Late Show, or just The Late Show is the name of their first album. But just a catchy song, kind of poppy vocals. I think they're pretty much an all-girls band, which is pretty cool too.
We gotta stop doing free plugs. We gotta start making people pay for these plugs.
You're probably right. I don't know why I'm plugging. It's like these people are just plugging. I'll tag them on Insta. Maybe they'll tag us back.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll see. Song number 2 is Pharmacist by a band called Alvvays. And you're thinking, like I'm saying, it's Alvvays, so it's Alvvays.
Alvvays.
It almost sounds like a German always, I guess. Alvvays. And the album's called Alvvays. And yeah, just another kind of good, catchy sort of rock song deal. Not sure where I heard of them. Probably started listening to that album like 6 or 7 months ago. I think it came out either this year or last year, so it's kind of a fresh one too. This album's a little bit older, at least the song that the album that this next song is off of. It's called Sweet Disposition by the Temper Trap. They're another group that this probably is like at least a decade ago or so, but that's a catchy song. I feel like you'd feel that song. You like that Sweet Disposition. Yeah, it's just got like a nice little, it comes in with a really like little echoey guitar riff and stuff, and just kind of like takes off. It just takes you to another place.
I like going to other places.
Other places are good. Kind of keeping with, I don't know if I've actually had a Pearl Jam song yet, despite how much I talked about Pearl Jam on the music episode, but Eddie Vedder had a solo album that came out in 2022 as well, or late 2021, called Earthling, and the song's Brother the Cloud. Just a really good kind of straightforward rock song. Definitely sounds like sort of a Pearl Jam song.
Nice.
But his vocals are really good on it. I guess there's speculation that he wrote it about, like, I think Chris Cornell when he passed away, because I think they, like, kind of knew each other really well from being in the 90s and in bands together originally and stuff.
I either, like, love Pearl Jam or, like, can't stand Pearl Jam. I don't understand.
Yeah, I feel like they have a lot of different songs. That's probably why.
Yeah, that's
and
weird.
Sometimes his voice is definitely a little grating. You just kind of, and you can't understand what the hell he's saying. Oh, we don't know where in a cone I want to see. You can hear that. And kind of a little connection, I guess, because people saying that maybe he wrote Brother of the Cloud about Chris Cornell, but the next song is called Your Time Has Come by Audioslave. The album was Out of Exile. That's another pretty, like, I really liked the song when I was a teenager, but just happened to be listening to this album again recently, kind of growing on me. But I'm not sure who the bassist and the drummer was, but notably Chris Cornell is the singer of the group, and Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine was the guitarist. So it's kind of was like a sort of pseudo super group, I guess.
Was it a little heavy? Get a little heavy?
Yeah, it's definitely like hard rock, Chris Cornell kind of screaming kind of deal.
Nice.
Most people know, like, the big single off that album was Be Yourself.
Okay.
I don't know. Most people probably would know that song if they heard it and you were around our age.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
I
it.
wasn't a big Audioslave guy.
Did you ever listen to
I
it?
don't think so.
You should.
I will.
You like Rage?
I'll listen to that one.
Yeah, that was for you too.
Thank you.
So yeah, this wraps up Nick's music moment of the week. All right, so that leads us into the main topic. Josh is going to be center stage tonight.
Let's go.
He's going to be talking about his experience.
Let's go.
He's getting cozy.
So
settle in.
I'm finally in the house. Finally have moved into the home that I've been building for the last 2+ years.
The Josh has landed.
Finally.
And yes, you heard that right. 2+ years.
2+ years. 2+ years. It's been a slog to get into this house, and we are finally in this house. And we're blessed to be in the house. It's just being there is great. There's still a lot that we got to do to make it home, but just being in this house has been great. But I mean, it's been a long process, so we thought it would be a good idea, especially for people that are thinking about building and don't really know where to start or have some questions, or just so I can kind of give you some insight and some tips of how my experience went, and the things that I've found out along the way, things that I wish I knew along the way, or at the beginning when we started this process about building and picking out land and all that stuff. So I'm gonna kind of talk about. Yeah,
do you want to sort of start at the beginning? What led you to getting the idea of wanting to build your own? Well, pick out the land, build your own house.
Yeah. So we had owned our own home. We bought a house in Somerset back in 2018. We bought a house in Somerset, and so
was it on? Yeah, because Jeremiah was born the same year.
Yep. So basically, how we kind of got to this point of even thinking about this was...
Can I take one brief side note also, which I feel like is worth mentioning because not everybody does this, but Josh got married. No, you didn't get married.
We got married in 2017.
Yeah, you got married in
September 2017.
Mel found out she was pregnant.
The same day that we found out that we had basically won the bid on the house that we lived in Somerset.
And that was all within about a year of you guys being married.
So that was February. So we got married in September 2017.
Yep.
And we found out, I believe it was either January or February in 2018, that we were pregnant and we're going to be homeowners. So
and then you had a kid on September 11th.
Yeah, September 11th. Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just thought that was worth mentioning.
And we moved in.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. So we moved in, I believe it was March 1st. March 1st, I believe, of 2018, we moved into the house in Somerset. So, and when we moved in, I basically told Melissa, if this house ever goes up by the value of this house goes up by $10,000, we're going to sell this house. Because we knew what it was. It was a starter home. It was a perfect little house to build a little family. And then So basically that's what I said. That was one of the first things I said was, if the value of this house goes up by 10 grand, we're going to sell it. And we're going to buy something else. We're going to upsize. So fast forward to basically the beginning of COVID, 2021, the beginning of 2021, January, the end of 2020, the beginning of 2021. COVID was being whispered about, and the market value of houses were starting to go up.
Yeah, because everybody's starting to move out of the cities.
Yep. And so we kind of started going back and forth, like, hey, let's kind of look into getting another house. Let's kind of talk to our realtor and stuff like that. And so basically we'd started that process. We kind of talked to our realtor, like, hey, we're thinking about buying a house. What do you think we could get for our house? And whatever. So once we're starting that conversation, I was driving back and forth to Segi to play golf, and I would see these same plots of land for sale in Swansea. And I was like, oh, I wonder what it would cost, like, for this piece of land. And then I wonder what it would cost, like, if we wanted to build a house. Because if it's within the ballpark of what it would cost us to buy a house, like, let's kind of start kicking that idea around. So I told Melissa about it, and we drove by it, and she was like, oh yeah, this is a nice area. This is a nice location or whatever. And so we started kind of looking into it. So I talked to my realtor. I called the realtor companies that were selling those pieces of land, and just to find out a little bit more about the land, what the price was, and like things like that, and kind of what the process was for building, like how that would work. So once we started doing that, we figured, okay, to build a house would have cost us, let's say, $250,000-$350,000 just for the build, and then we would have to find land, and then that would just be added to the price. So whatever if our bottom line was $550,000-$600,000, we know, all right, we can build. If we find land for $100,000, well, we can now build for $500,000 house, and we would be able to kind of financially make it work.
Budget out.
We would be able to make it work that way. So we started. So then we talked to our realtor. Okay, realistically, what could we get for our house? And so we ended up thinking, all right, we can get somewhere right around 300 and 315, somewhere around there. That was like $50,000-$60,000 more than we paid. And so that was good. We were like, all right, we can head in that direction. And now we know, all right, we have $60,000 to play with. We can kind of put towards a down payment and stuff like that. And then we started meeting with builders. So we met with 3 or 4 different builders, kind of went through the whole process of, all right, what would it cost to build the house that we want to build? And we kind of found out those numbers, and I'll get more into the builder aspect of it in a little bit. And then we said, okay, now where do we want to live? And so we drove around to a bunch of different areas, a bunch of different locations.
And you're also limited by where there was land for sale.
Where there was land for sale, and then we didn't want to commute I didn't want to commute more than like 40 minutes. If I had to commute 40 minutes, then I could realistically do that and not pull my hair out every day, but that was kind of the max. So we actually looked right around here, right around your house. That was one of the builders that was building around here was doing the development in the old golf course. So we met with them, and we actually saw some of their houses, but we didn't end up going with them. We saw kind of what they were building, the quality of the builds and things like that. And we kind of just like was deterred. And part of it, and this is going to be my first recommendation to everybody, is make sure you have a realtor while you're going through this process. Because my realtor, her name's Lindsay, she was a big advocate for us she would point out things that we wouldn't notice. She would say, hey, this is a great price to build, but you're going to get the bare bones. You're not going to get nice fixtures. You're going to have carpet throughout your entire house. Like you gotta think about these things, because if you want to add it, well, yeah, this house that started off at $250,000-$300,000 to build, now once you start adding everything up, now you're closer at the end of the day with the land, like $600,000-$700,000, and it's like, okay, so we didn't go with them. They would nickel and dime for all those little things, and I'll get into more of that in a little bit. But so we met with a couple other builders, and then we ended up picking a builder before we picked the land. So the builder we went with, I don't know if I should say. I'm gonna say I don't care. So we went with Oracle Homes.
Yeah, you've got your house now.
Yeah, fuck them. So we went with Oracle Homes, and they're kind of a newer builder. But what we liked about them was they're like a custom builder. That's their thing, is they build homes to suit your needs, basically custom to the way that you want it to be built. So we had the other builders we saw, they were like, we build these 7 house styles.
Yeah, like these different models.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly. This is the floor plan. This is what's included at the base price. This is what you're gonna get. And some of them were nice. Like, by no means am I gonna take anything away from what they were doing. Some of them looked really nice, and we took a lot of those ideas of, I like this floor plan. We like what this looks like. Things like that.
You guys went to a couple different builders.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to Longbuilt Homes was one of them. Like I said, the one up here, and then there was one more builder, I think out of Fall River, that we had met with. And so, but it was like, all right, I don't want a formal dining room. Like, nobody uses a formal dining room. We're not gonna, like, you eat in there twice a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving, and that's it. Like, we didn't want a room that you're not gonna use 90% of the year, 99% of the year. So that was the cool thing about building with these guys, was you got to pick your floor plan. You got to pick your layout of, all right, this is your square footage. You got a 2,000 square foot house. However that square footage is basically distributed throughout your house, you get to pick. So you want 5 bedrooms? Great. You can get 5 bedrooms. If you can squeeze 5 bedrooms into that 2,000 square feet, by all means, you can do that. So that's what we did. So we ended up kind of moving things around and picking out our floor plan and having a nice open floor plan.
Did you guys have an idea of kind of what type of house you wanted? Because you basically got sort of like a...
Yeah, it's a colonial. Yeah, it's a colonial.
colonial.
Yeah, and we wanted a colonial just because I'm not a big fan of the ranch. I'm not a ranch guy. Like, I feel like a ranch house is just a long hallway with a bunch of rooms off of it.
Kind of true.
Yeah, so your house is just a hallway, and I wasn't into that. So I grew up in a 2-floor house. So it was like, we wanted a 2-floor house because you can get all your bedrooms upstairs, let all the business be downstairs, and still have a basement and all that stuff. And so that's what we wanted to do. So like I said, we 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. Like, we got to put our laundry upstairs.
Yeah, that's really
on
nice.
the second floor where the bedrooms
same
are.
Floor, at least.
Yeah, it's dude. Oh, what a game changer that is. I don't even use a laundry basket anymore because I just put all my clothes right into the washing machine. It's right there. I walk by it every day. So it's nice. And then you just do your laundry. You don't have to say, I got to go all the way down to the basement to go get the laundry and switch it over. Like, no, I'm already up here. I'm getting ready to go to bed. Switch over my laundry real quick.
There you go.
Move on. So we got to go do cool stuff like that. And so that was stuff that we thought about, like, at the beginning. Like, how do we want to do this? How do we want to utilize this space? What are we gonna do with the first floor? Like, where's Jeremiah's... like, what are we going to do for him? So we ended up doing like a playroom off of our living room. And then instead of the formal dining room, we did a sunroom. So that sunroom's attached to the deck.
Nice.
So it's like, all right, it's nice to sit in. You can gather there. Like, if you really wanted to, you could put a table in there and call it your dining room. Like, so it just becomes a multi-functional room that you can use. So that was the cool thing about going with this builder. The other cool thing is, like I said before, was a lot of things that these other builders didn't do was provide like quality materials in their base. So like you would get the basic whatever American standard like sink, faucet, all in chrome. Like,
gotcha. It's all like the not really the appliances, but
like the fixtures, like your plumbing fixtures,
lighting,
your doorknobs, door handles, all that stuff. You got the basic lights, all that stuff. Like it was carpet, and one of the builders, it was carpet in all the rooms except for the living room, and then tile in the or tile in the kitchen and tile in the bathrooms, and then the rest of your house is all carpet everywhere. Like, I like carpet in the bedroom, love carpet in the bedroom, but everywhere else, I can live without it. Like, I don't.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just too much. So, to change all that, if you wanted a different type of sink, if you wanted a deeper sink, a farmer sink, if you wanted a different color marble or a granite countertop, if you wanted your doorknobs to be black, if you wanted your fixtures to be brass or brushed nickel, you would all those little things would be extra charges with these other companies, and with these people it wasn't. So it was like, we have hardwood all throughout our house, we have carpet in the bedroom, but I didn't have to pay extra for it. Yeah, we got nice. nice quartz countertops. Didn't have to pay extra for it. It was part of, I had to pay a little bit extra because we went a little bit crazy with the with the countertops, but there was money allotted to pick whatever we wanted for the countertop. There was money allotted to pick whatever we wanted for our cabinets. There was money allotted to pick whatever we wanted for our plumbing fixtures. And then we understood that if like these are the ones that we could pick from, and if we went above that, then we would have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
It's all Kohler, so it's all Kohler, like faucets and toilets and all that stuff. So it's like not that lower tier fixture. It's a higher tier, and it looks nicer. So as far as that goes, that was kind of what sold us on it.
Yeah, okay.
And,
so not paying for the bells and whistles. So
yeah, exactly. The bells and whistles are kind of already included.
Yeah.
So that was really what we were really interested in.
I wonder why they do that. Maybe other builders, because they just make a lot of money off it. So that's why they don't include it in the price, because they want to like
a little extra,
put more overhead on it or something.
So we made a walkout basement. So we got to build a house that has a walkout basement. So I don't got to deal with a bulkhead or one of those dog houses. Like it's just, you walk right out into your backyard from your basement. So, and there was a big deck, like all those things were included, and it was nice. Like we paid extra to have, what are those things? Like the TimberTech decks, like the composite deck.
Yeah, the ones that don't rot.
Yeah, so we paid a little extra for that. We paid a little extra to get a mudroom bench. Like, so that money that we would have had to spend to get black doorknobs, like we got to spend on nicer things, like a mudroom bench and the nicer thing for the deck. So, and there was a fireplace included. So all that stuff was great. But like we talked about, it took 2+ years to build this house. And like I said at the beginning, I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know what it was. So that's the first thing that I would have done differently, is put a time limit on this. Because
you could have signed it on a contract or something.
Yeah,
I'm assuming, and with extenuating circumstances probably outlined, but not like the ones you dealt with.
Right. So that's the first thing I would have done, because we sold our house and then moved in with my in-laws.
You guys sold it within a month. Right?
Yeah, we sold it in June of that year. June 1st, we were out of that house.
Yep.
So, and we ended up selling it for $100,000 more. We got a bunch more for our house.
June 1st, 2020.
Yeah,
Keep the timeline
No,
going.
2021.
2020. Oh, because it was after COVID.
Yeah.
It was already out. Yep.
Yeah. So June 1st, 2021, we were out of the house. We started this process, like I said, back in January, February. I think we signed the contract with the builder in February of 2021.
Gotcha.
So we had the builder locked in.
Yep.
We found the land.
So 2020 was like the pre-tail.
Yeah.
Before stuff started getting real.
Right. So that was a long way of saying that's how we decided on the builder.
So really, your whole process really was close to 3 years from you like being like, I want to get land and look at this to picking a builder to building a house. Yeah, dude, that's a long time.
Yeah, it feels like a lot. It feels like a long time. So, yeah, so that was why we picked that builder. We liked what was included in his price. We signed that contract, and then we went for searching for the land, and we knew what our price was. Now this house was going to cost us $350 some odd $1,000 to build. Now, if we want to stay within our price range, now we got to find some land that's going to be right around that 150-ish range. So we looked all over the place, and then we ended up finding a couple pieces of land in Tiverton. One was a little out of the range, and then one was in the range, and then they also had another piece of land. So this builder had bought a development and was building a little development in Tiverton. So they had some land over there, but it was in the range, but it was too small. So we ended up finding the land that we wanted that was within our price range, and then locked it all in. Went to the bank, locked it all in with the bank, and like I said, June 1st closed on everything. Sold our house, closed on that. So locked in our interest rate at whatever it is, 3%, 3.5%.
Yeah, especially right now.
Yeah, which is crazy right now. So we got lucky. We were very lucky to do everything when we did it, but we put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of research into it to make sure we did it the way that we wanted to do it. So, but back to what I was saying. So this is the reason we went with the builder. I would have, now knowing how long it took us, because we moved into my in-laws house, so now we're being the burden on them. The builder tells us, oh yeah, this should take about a year to build.
Yeah, and they're gonna tell you the best.
Right. And then here we are 2+ years later. Okay, like this, like we're way over the time that we were given. So the first thing I would do is make sure they have a clear plan of when this house is going to be built and hold them to it. Put it in the contract. You have whatever, a year and a half to build.
Because you should be able to, I mean, really, because you're writing the contract, you should be able to, like, even you think like they could have given you a discount or been like, hey, like, we're just going to eat some of this for you. Yeah. Or like whatever.
Yeah, upgrade something for me, put in a sprinkler system, whatever it is. Keep me happy. But so I would suggest that if there is anybody thinking about building the house, get something in writing, put it in your contract. This is the timeline to get this house built. Obviously, you don't want them to rush, but you also want to make sure
there's still a reasonable time frame to have things done, though.
You want to make sure you're not getting lost in the shuffle and they're forgetting about you, because that's what it felt like happened with us. Was like, so we sell our house in June, we get all these promises of how we're gonna get there's gonna be a project manager, they're gonna reach out to us, they're gonna be with us throughout the entire process. So that whole first month goes by and I don't hear from anybody. So then I start blowing up their phone like, hey, what are we doing?
Yeah, like what's going on? I just paid you guys a shit ton of money.
I just gave you freaking $500,000.
Yeah.
We need to figure out. Yeah, we need to figure out what we're doing here. We got to start building. You guys tell me a year to build this,
and we haven't a month.
Yeah, we haven't even cut a tree yet. Like we haven't even staked anything out. Nothing. So, So I start calling them, and then finally somebody reaches out to me. I'm like, oh, I'm your project manager. Sorry, blah, 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 blah. That's when I should have known right there. These guys are not on top of it. Like, these guys are not on the ball. So for every good thing I just said about how beautiful the house is, and like, because the house is beautiful. I love the house, but this is where the headache starts, is the communication with these people is terrible. So I don't know who my project manager is. So I finally get in touch with her, and then there's the whole process of now we got to do our floor plan. We got to they got to do the virtual 3Ds of it and all that stuff. Then they got to get that to the town, and then the town's got to sign off of it. And now COVID's happening, and everything's kind of delayed because nobody's at work. Like, so things are kind of slowed down. Understandably, obviously, global pandemic. Like, I get it. Yeah. And the good thing is, we locked in our price at before
everything's going crazy.
Before everything
I don't
goes
know
through
what
the
prime
roof.
is now, like 6% or probably something like that on mortgages. So
and then, but the cost of materials goes through the roof.
And that because everybody was just doing. Well, I think it must be transportation of them, and I feel like people were just doing stuff like crazy.
So
to their houses,
all that material goes through the roof. So I kind of get the feeling like, because now we're a few months in, and there's still no progress. Like, we're still got trees in our lot, like, and now we're getting closer to winter time, and nothing's gonna happen. So I kind of felt like they dragged their feet because they were gonna lose a ton of money because they had to buy all this lumber, and the lumber went through the roof. Everything went kind of through the roof.
So you think they were waiting to see if it would come back down?
Yeah. So
they started buying stuff,
right? So we were we were locked in at our price, and it's like, all right, we're going to kind of push them back. And I think they also took on a lot of other jobs at that same time because everybody was trying to build at that time.
Yeah. It's like, we need to get out of the cities where there's COVID.
Yeah. So them being a newer, smaller company, I don't think they were prepared for everything that they needed to do. So, like I said, make sure my next suggestion is make sure when you do get into this with these companies and they tell you got a project manager, make sure you know who that project manager is. Make sure you meet them and sit down with them and go over everything with them, because it was like we didn't sit down with this lady, and then next thing you know, she's not my project manager anymore.
Oh boy.
So this other guy that I never met is my project manager. And 3 months later, I got another project manager. And then a year later, I have another project manager.
Yeah, I wonder if they had a lot of people turn it over because like they probably were taking on too much.
Yeah.
Well, clearly,
I think all those people are still working here. I think all those people are still working there. So at the beginning, when this guy tells me, the owner of the company tells me, "Oh yeah, our project manager is going to work with you. Like whatever you're going to know, we're going to be like a little family." Like, no, because I've had so many stepdads now at this point. I've had so many different project managers, and I finally get to my last one who's seeing us through to the end, and it's like, all right, but all the communication that I've had along the line has been now lost in translation. Like, we were supposed to do this. This guy has no idea. My plumber was supposed to do this. Well, he's never heard about it, so he's not pushing the guy on.
It's like playing catch up.
Right. So we that was frustrating. That was a very frustrating part of the process, is just not knowing who to talk to, knowing who to communicate with, just being kind of bounced around. And then, like, when I did have questions, now who am I going to? Am I talking to the owner? Is this guy advocating for me? But I've told this guy a million times, like a bunch of times, like, I'm worried, I'm concerned about this, and I still haven't heard anything back about it. Like, so just make sure you know who your project manager is, and if you're not happy with what they're doing, go straight to the owner and tell them, hey, this is what I need an answer on. Yeah, so I've done that a few times now.
It's crazy.
And then make sure you understand your contract, so that way when things happen, you can tell them no. Like, so the first thing that happened was they came to me and said, all right, pick out your garage doors. So we picked out our garage doors. And they said, all right, with these garage doors, you're going to have to pay $4,000 out of pocket. And I said, why would I pay out of pocket for a garage door? They said, well, this is not included. This door is not included in your plan as part of your contract. And I said, my contract says I can pick from this brand of garage door and includes windows. So glass windows. So you tell me, you show me the ones that I can pick that are part of my contribution, they call it, part of my contribution, and I'll pick from those.
Yep.
Because I'm not paying out of pocket for garage doors. So I didn't end up having to pay. They're like, oh no,
it's literally in the contract.
Yeah, no, well,
cut and dry.
We changed this or that, and so this is going to be included. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's because it's bullshit.
Right, exactly. So And so I've had to do things like that a couple times. It's like,
it's not pleasant to be in that situation over and over again. It's tough. Too.
And that's why I say have a realtor, because so I'll say it, but now I got another person backing me up. I got another, because they have their whole company on their side. So now I got somebody backing me up on my side, and somebody who's in the business of selling houses, who is in the business of bringing people to build houses, that's going to say, hey, you don't want this bad reputation of you're going to screw your clients and you're going to shortchange them, nickel and dime them. Like, do what's right for your customer, so that way when I have to go, I got somebody else that comes, talks to me, that wants to build a house. Now I can say, yeah, Oracle Homes does what they're supposed to do.
So, like, when, just out of curiosity, for a realtor, like, you worked with a realtor to find the builder, too? So it's yes. Like just buying a normal house, so the realtor gets a chunk of whatever you paid for everything?
She got
just like buying a house.
Yeah, she got a piece of what I got for selling my house.
So she had stake in it, though, too, because she was recommending people to that company.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's why I can't say it enough. Make sure you have somebody with you, somebody that knows the system, knows the business, knows how real estate works, so that they can advocate for you when the time comes.
Knows when these builders are just being like silly.
Yeah. So, and don't be afraid to stick up for yourself, though. Like we've been at the end. Like we're at the end. We're finally moved in. But to get to this step of getting our occupancy, like you got to pass the inspections. So this last inspection, the final inspection, well, the first time they came through, they failed because our front step was too high and our back step was too high. So the builder, my project manager, comes to me and says, well, so what do you want to do about this? Can you call because I had hired my own landscaper. I hired a couple, like my own guy to do my driveway. Can you call your landscaper, ask him to come throw some dirt? I said, this is not my responsibility. This is your responsibility.
Is on you guys. It's part of the house.
You guys know that it has to pass this inspection. You guys know what the requirements are for this step. That means you know what the grading should be to make sure that this step is at the height it's supposed to be. The guy that did the site work, the guy that cleared the lot, prepared the dirt, got everything to where it should be, he should have taken care of that months ago, a year ago at this point. I'm not doing anything. You need to tell him to come back here and finish that. I'm not calling my landscaper to come back here and throw dirt. I'm not calling my driveway guy to come back here and throw stuff on your driveway. You don't pay me. Don't pay me to work for you to get these people. You have to figure out a solution. It's your job to do it. This is why I paid you. And so they figured it out. And we ended up passing the inspection. Okay, so it's like I said, that was a lot of the headache along the way, is going back and forth. And not everybody does that. Not everybody is okay with arguing with people. Like, and sometimes I was like, I don't know if I want to push it too much.
They probably, like, half the time too, like, they'll say that to someone, like the shit they gave you about the step or whatever, and like they're like, yeah, sure, I'll go do that, because they just want to get in their house. So
but my goal is, I'm cheap. I don't know if you know, I'm cheap. Like, I'm not paying extra money out of pocket, like, to throw dirt. Like, I'm not calling somebody and having to pay my money to throw more dirt because your guy didn't do what he was supposed to do 6 months ago. In the first place. Yeah, like, I'm not doing that. Some people would do that just to avoid the argument, but I love arguing, so I'll do that all day. But that's kind of going to get into my next point is I was a little naive of, like, all right, this is what we paid for the house. Like, we signed this contract. This is what we paid for the house. Now the money that I'm going to have to spend is done. Like, now I can kind of just worry about buying my little things, my whatever, to furnish my home. But there was a good amount of money that ended up having to come out of my pocket for X, Y, and Z, for extra money to go towards the site work, especially because we wanted the walkout basement. Well, now they had to take more dirt out. Now they have to do all this. So there was more money that had to come out for that. There's more money that had to come out for my electrical service, like trying to get, like, everything run to the house like that.
Yeah, I mean, the electrical too is just that's pure frustration on your end, because that was like literally the last thing that you needed to do.
Yeah,
so that was they did get you with that, to be fair. But but I mean, it was just like, I don't blame you at all. I feel like I would have done the exact same thing, because it was just like, it's the last thing you guys needed.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get into
and you know someone who literally estimates electrician projects and stuff.
Yeah.
So
we didn't even get into all of that, but I know we will in a second. But yeah, so just make sure you understand that if you are going to build a house, understand that you need to have some additional money on top of whatever you paid. You have to have some additional money that you're going to have to come out of pocket for this. And now we're at the end. Now I got to pay. It's like $3,000 for my impact fee in Tiverton, like taxes, all that bullshit. So just make sure you have that money available, because when that time comes, you got to make sure you pay it. You don't want to hold anything up along the way. So but yeah, so then the other thing was, make sure you know so my guy used a lot of subcontracted the plumber, the people that did like the deck, the electrical, the electrician, and make sure you know who they're hiring and the work that they do. Because we ran into at the end was we were waiting for this electrician, and we talked about on this podcast already. I had to fire him because this guy was an absolute bum. Like, he didn't show up to do the work that he was supposed to do.
After telling you he was going to show up.
After telling us for months that he was going to show up and he was going to finish it by this date, keep pushing us back and back and back. And then eventually kind of just not showing up 3/4 of the way through and kind of leaving it up to me to hire my buddies to come and finish the job, or leaving it up to me to get them to come do it. And now the owner of the company has to pay these guys. After stupidly he paid the guy that didn't finish the job. He gave him the money that he was owed, and then he basically poo-pooed him and said, all right, now I'm gone. You're never going to see me again. Like, I already know you're not going to hire me again because I'm a piece of garbage, but I just walked off with $4,000 from you. Like, so, like, just make sure you know who your guy's hiring. Make sure you look at their Better Business Bureau.
So his guys are basically just strictly the guys that build the house.
The carpenters, for the most part. Like, the
structural things.
And the guys that do, like, the managing of the projects and stuff like that. And those guys will do, like, odds and ends. But that's the thing. I got no issues with the carpenters, the stuff like that, because the inside of the house looks great. Like,
you showed me pictures and can't wait to see it in person.
The finishes,
it looks wicked good.
Yeah, thank you. The finishes that they use, like the moldings on the doors, the window sills, like, they put quality in their craft. We could tell when they put up the bones of the house, when you're looking at the frame of the house, it looked good. Like I said, we walked through a couple other houses and I'm like, what is this? They got like half cut 2x4s, stuff like that, and I'm like, this house looks gross. This house looked clean. Like, it looked clean from beginning to end. It was just a headache to try to get everything done and try to meet the deadline, and then also, like, knowing, all right, now we're not going to be in there in a year. Now when are we going to be in there? And also explain to my in-laws, like, oh yeah,
it's going to be a little bit longer.
Yeah, we're going to be a little bit longer here, because if I had stayed in my house and I was paying a mortgage, believe me, I would have freaking lost my mind a year ago. Like, I would have absolutely blown up on these people because paying a double mortgage. So make sure you know your game plan. Make sure you know if it goes long, like, what's your plan gonna be. Like, expect it to be twice as long as it's supposed to be. But if you get in writing that it's got to be done in a year, or else you're gonna get some back pay from them, something. Like, make sure you have a plan in place. So, and don't be afraid to fire people. Don't be afraid to get lawyers involved. Do what you got to do. Like, it's important. It's a lot of money.
Read the contract.
Yeah, read the contract.
I feel like that's what I'm getting a lot out of this, is make sure you know what's going on. Think of the angles.
I went up and down that contract a million times because I wanted to make sure, like, when things came up, I could say, nope, this is what the contract states. Like, I don't have to do this. Like, I don't have to pay you this. You have to cover this. You're responsible for that. So you win some, you lose some. There were some things I'm like that I lost that they're like, nope, we're not doing it, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. It's not a big deal. So, but yeah, that's kind of the whole story. Like I said, now we're in. It's a great town. Tiverton's a great town. I've talked about it enough. Like, it's awesome. It's
the one unconnected part of Rhode. Well, that and Little Compton are like two unconnected parts of Rhode Island. Like, I guess besides Newport and Jamestown.
Yeah. It's great to be there. And by no means am I a millionaire. Do I have a ton of money? Like, we just happened to get lucky. We sold our house at the right time. We were able to build. So all in on this build, like, it was like $515,000. Like, nice. Not by no means was it crazy, because now these houses are going for like $750,000.
Yeah, it's wild.
So
right
it's
now.
like, at a 7% interest rate or whatever it is. So
it's wild.
There's no way we could have done this now. But like I said, things just happen to fall in place.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, like, in the same mode of, like, we probably couldn't afford our house. If it was like if we had our maybe if we sold our condo, but I still think even if we did back then, it would have been, we could afford it, but it would be tight. It'd be like tighter. It wouldn't be uncomfortable, but it'd be like, compared to what we bought it for, it's gone up by like 200 and something, I think, which is wild.
I like seeing all the memes now that everybody's starter home in 2021 turned into their forever home because they're locked in.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, what was that interest rating? We really wanted to get out of the city, and COVID's over now.
Yeah. And now we're locked in at a 3.5% interest rate, and now everything's double that. So you can't. You really can't.
I think it's like 6.5 or something, or it was at one point.
It's like, crazy.
Holy shit.
That's crazy.
It's wild. Yeah, I think we got like 2.75 on this, or maybe even a little bit lower.
That's sweet.
Yeah, 2.65, something like that.
Yeah. But that's kind of it, man. That's the story. And like I said, it was frustrating. There's good things. There's a lot of good things. Obviously the best thing is we have the house that we wanted. We got to build it exactly the way we wanted. It took longer than we wanted, but now being in there, it's like, all right, yes, this is what we hoped for. It's very rare that you get to walk in a house and this is everything that I want. Like, in
literally
a house.
You sat there and like designed
right.
It
so you can't get that with buying just a regular house on the market. Cool, you have to. It's very rare that happens. So we got to build it. It's the way we want it. We're happy. Wish there was some things that we did differently. Wish there was things that went differently. But at the end of the day, I can't complain. So, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. I was trying to think of other stuff. I've also like been here the whole time and been talking to you and seeing you go through like this roller coaster.
Yeah. So this is for the people that kind of haven't or just are curious about what that process is like or whatever. And I mean, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. And if you want a good realtor, I'll set you up with my realtor, because she was really good.
Yeah, she sounds like she really went to bat for you.
Yeah, she did a good job. She did a great job selling the house, too.
She was basically on retainer for you.
For sure. Years. For 2 years, yeah. But she did a great job selling the house. Like, the pictures they took, like, she was the open house that she did. It was crazy, but it's been quite a ride, and we're finally at the end. So it's just happy to be in there and just really get it back into, like, because now we're back into like living our life. Mm-hmm. Like, before it was like, all right, now we're living with Melissa's parents. Like, you can't be and live the way that you want to be and live. Now we can kind of be and live and raise our son the way that we want to raise our son and all that nonsense. So
cool, man.
Yeah, cool. Man, appreciate you listening to me.
No problem. Guess you want to get into the descent.
Let's get into the descent. Fantasy football's back.
Oh, yes.
It's fantasy football season.
It is.
You ready?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
See if I let the auto draft happen or
don't.
If I pick everybody.
No, you need to pick. You got to stop letting the auto draft happen.
I did 2 years ago. I picked most of it.
Yeah.
I did better than this year. This year was just
We're doing the draft the day before Ryland's birthday party.
Okay. Cool.
So.
Oh, that's right. Because Labor Day is early this year. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think it's the 7th is. I
think
first. Opening. Oh, really? Yeah, opening. I think the Thursday, whatever that Thursday is.
Gotcha.
So, the Rehoboth Feisty Fox is coming back.
Oh yeah, they're coming back for another season.
Yeah, I love fantasy football.
What was yours? What the hell was yours?
Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick.
I'm Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love fantasy football, so I'm looking forward to this season. I've had this league going
long time now.
Damn.
Because I didn't join when it started, I'm assuming.
No,
either.
I don't think you did. But I had this going since 2013. So this is 10. Oh, this is the 10th year.
Yeah. Oh shit.
The Big 10. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good league. A lot of good guys.
It's fun.
Yeah. It's fun. It's cheap. It's $30. It's just for fun and whatever. The winner gets a little bit of money.
I always like it because I'm not being the biggest like follower of football all the time too. Like I end up watching just a lot of my fantasy team on it. So it's kind of I end up watching other games other than just the Patriots and stuff. So it's fun.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Cool, man.
How about you?
Nothing much. Been watching Succession on HBO Max, which I don't know if have you watched Succession?
I love Succession.
Yeah, we're I don't know, like 7 episodes through that, but it's been pretty good so far.
That's a great show.
That's kind of what we've been our latest binge.
Have you gotten to the point where sometimes they're talking about stuff and you're like, I don't understand like really what they're talking about? It's just rich people stuff.
It's just super vague.
Yeah.
I love how they just are such like the way they talk to is just so like callous. Like they're just like get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Like they'll just say stuff like that. I love the dialogue and it's
Kieran Culkin does a great job in that show.
He does. Yeah. And just some of the dialogue is just like excellent. It's like scathing and just it's good. So yeah, we've been doing that.
We finished Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah, how'd you like that?
It was good.
Yeah,
I think I liked it better than Breaking Bad.
I absolutely said after especially this season, like the final season and the season finale, like I very much enjoyed it more than Breaking Bad. It was cool that they had Walter White and Jesse too on a couple episodes just to sort of to vaguely mesh things together.
Spoilers.
I think we're free to spoil it by now. I know you were a little late to the party, but like it came out a while ago.
Yeah,
I think we're okay to spoil that.
Nice.
Yeah, not much else. I'm going to plug our future episode because me and Ash are going to get back to the other half of the 48. And again, thanks to Ash for sitting in.
Can I just say real quick, Ashley, you did a fantastic job.
I was going to say she did a good job.
And I know the fans missed me so much, and I know you missed me so much. But Ashley, you're a great fill-in. Great fill-in. So you guys did. I listened to the podcast. You guys did a great job. It's.
Thanks.
I don't need to be there every time. It's much better when I am here. But
we got rolling pretty good. We got rolling pretty good.
You guys did a great job.
Yeah, so we'll be back probably. That'll be next episode, and I kind of like to. We'll have these a little stacked up a little bit. It'll be kind of nice for a change. But yeah, we'll be back with that in our other half of the hiking the New Hampshire 48 4,000 footers journey, which gets pretty interesting. I think has some really good trips on there, like the Bonds Traverse and other things we'll be talking about, and probably get into kind of where we're at now with hiking too.
That'll be good.
And how I'm list obsessive. So there we go.
And now that I'm in the house, I'm going to try to set up my little pod station, little pod area.
Yeah, Black Cat Studio South.
Black Cat Studio. Yeah, South.
Rhode Island Black Cat Studio.
Yeah. So that's I'm
you have to get a black cat. I'll get you a stuffed black cat.
No animals, dude.
No, I know that. I'm gonna get you a little stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Get you a little stuffed animal black cat.
And we're working on hopefully, potentially, maybe a sponsor, maybe not a sponsor, but somebody that we.
Did anything material? You don't have to go into detail.
No,
anything materialize with that? Oh, okay.
No, yeah, we'll discuss, but it's a potential that we can be sponsored by somebody or kind of get a little partnership going with a company. So, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and if anybody out there does have any sort of product they ever want us to kind of back, if we can honestly get behind it, because we're not just gonna try to sell stuff we don't actually think is cool.
I might.
I don't know. Yeah, Josh might. I won't.
I'm a hooah.
Yeah,
I'm a hooah. Send me your stuff.
I'll
peddle it.
I have some sense of dignity behind my name. But yeah. So we have some pricing packages and stuff available if anybody was wanting to do that.
No, we don't.
We don't.
Just come tell us if there's a product that you want pitched, and we'll chat.
You do point out, as I feel like we do plug other things inadvertently.
Yeah, so for free. We're stupid.
Yeah. Oh well.
I got to figure out how to make money on this.
Yeah. Well, I think we did hit kind of a cool milestone that we can touch a little bit upon. And I think we've been pretty clear with, I think the Buzzsprout stats are pretty skewed. Yeah. Buzzsprout is a platform. I have no complaints about the platform in general. Like it's been super easy to use. And for people that never podcasted, as far as publishing your podcasts, like everywhere, we're plugging them now a little bit. But their stats are definitely, compared to what we see in Spotify and Apple for listens and downloads, it's like way off. Like I'm pretty sure we have several thousand. And by pretty sure, I've seen the statistics. I'm not just pulling this out of my butt. We have, I think at this point we're at like several thousand listens between, like we crossed it on Apple the other day, and on Spotify we're definitely over that. But we crossed 500 official downloads on Buzzsprout. And we have one in Australia now. Yeah. We got Ireland, Germany. We got a couple. Cool. We had one in, was it Brazil?
Yeah.
I think we had a couple in
Canada.
Canada. We have Canada?
Yep. Oh, you didn't see Canada? Yeah, no, Canada's chiming in.
Canada's new.
They're pissed off about the bagged milk.
Yeah.
I think
I forgot about that till you just I
think they're a little mad at me. Sorry, Canada.
You're going to have to go, the guy on the street is like, so you like the milk, eh?
Eh?
You don't like the bagged milk.
Sorry.
Eh? You're going to be sorry now.
Sorry, Canada. Sorry.
Going to take you to the woodshed.
Oh.
I'll show you some bagged milk.
Fargo.
Oh, gosh. That movie's so weird. But yeah, anyways,
so we're international. Cool. We finally hit that 500 mark.
So thanks again to all our listeners that are out there. And I know we've been doing less frequency, but it seems like the general consensus for people is that they like the longer episodes. So even though we've kind of been averaging 2-ish a month, like you get a lot of Josh and Nick time.
Plus now I'm out of the
Nick
bubble.
And Ash time. Yeah, Josh is out of the bubble.
I'm out of the bubble. I'm into the house now. I'm back in my daily routine.
Yeah.
And now, once I get the setup at the house, we can probably maybe almost do this a weekly thing because it's a lot less logistics and travel.
I also want to figure out, like we were saying, we got to look into doing like remote, like do separate tracks.
Yeah.
And we can talk to each other not physically because we'll be in different locations, but that would make things a lot easier sometimes too.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We're working on all these things for you people.
We're still new.
You lovely listeners out there. Yeah, it feels like we've been doing this a while, but really it's only been since like April. It's our first episode.
Even though we're veterans, we're still new.
Yeah. Josh sounds like a podcast veteran.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah. It's probably lung cancer.
Your voice does sound especially good tonight. I like this preamp that we have too. I'm not going to plug that.
Don't plug it.
I was about to. No plugs.
No more freebies. Don't forget to follow us, review, subscribe, follow us on social media.
Whatever people are doing nowadays on the social medias.
Yep.
At you can
PUDs
follow.
Podcast.
We're both on Instagram too. I think Josh is just J Rod or something. Nick hikes and plays guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're always doing stuff. And I think till next time.
Bippity boppity, give me the zoppity.
Bye. PUDs Podcast was produced and recorded in Black Hat Studios by the Pud Boys. Find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving us a review and subscribing. Find us on social media, and we'll see you next time.